welcome to the third episode of Café Artistique here in Hamburg, live in the Gastwerk Hotel. Today we have two guests and we will talk about social media challenges, opportunities, maybe the future. And our guests are Oliver Kühnle from Hapag-Lloyd AG, and he's a social media specialist at Hapag-Lloyd. And we have Michelle Mi Alves from Brazil, who is an influencer, and she's studying digital marketing even at BSBI in Berlin, right? So welcome everybody.
Thank you.
Today we have a audience as well, online and offline here, and this is kind of an interactive session. So if you have any questions in the audience, raise your hand. We have a microphone, and your questions will be addressed. And you can join the talk at any time. And the same for the people in the chat. Write down your messages, write down your questions, and we will address them accordingly. So we all have a quite nice, interactive and informative session. So let's start. Oliver, so social media specialist, I mean, that's not a profession, that's kind of written somewhere. So when I started studying back then, even social media wasn't a thing, but it's nothing you kind of have an apprenticeship for. So how did you become a social media specialist? How was the journey?
Yeah, it's not actually my spoken title on Hapag-Lloyd, but it makes more understandable what I'm doing in my job. So I put it in the outside communication. Yeah, but you're right. I'm not learning it by heart. I not came out of school and wanted to be a social media manager, because as you're right, social media wasn't there when we finished school. So I studied actually social sciences. At least social is in my study, and I have a diploma in it. And as it has a quite open part how to decide what to study. I always could everything I do in the direction of marketing, of communication, because it was social sciences, it was psychology within it, so it was all kind of, I could learn something about how people communicate with each other. So this was a part of my study. And after school, I just had my first job in a short advertising agency in Hanover. And just a few months ago, Facebook actually popped up in Germany, and I said, well, social media, that is nice. I want to do something with that, and I want to combine it somehow with marketing. And so I came up and I worked for a fair in Hanover, and I developed the first Facebook page for this little fair for Malta Central Marketing actually.
Yeah, back then when Facebook pages still were a thing, right?
Right. It was a quite big thing, new thing to have a Facebook page back in time. But then I decided, well, I have to leave my hometown Hanover and to have a bigger city. So I moved to Hamburg actually, working for an agency which was located in Berlin. And so these days I was already a project manager with focus on social media. And this is the things I done a lot of times I changed the agency quite a few times, became an account manager for social media, always had social media on my focus. But then I got the chance to change the positions and I became the head of social media. So I gave back the project management to the project manager and just could concentrate on how to define strategies for social media. At this time, of course, not only Facebook, it was Instagram, it was Pinterest, it was YouTube.
When was this approximately like?
It was about 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years. So I changed the sites. I always like to talk to clients, but I didn't like to calculate all the stuff before. So I let that do the people who likes it, and I just came up, talk to the client, find the right decisions, find the right channels and the right community style for them. I had the chance to work a lot of different kind of clients. So for pharma, for example, which is quite difficult to communicate, especially in Germany. For pets, I worked with Jörn together for some pet food and had some nice stories about cats and dogs. And it's very kind of crazy. And then there was a time, it was actually 2 years ago, when I was in my last agency, I had the client Hapag-Lloyd. So I did the strategy and all the worldwide communication for all social media channels of Hapag-Lloyd. And then became to the point when my contact person at Hapag-Lloyd quitted her job, and the next thing I got a message from her boss asking me if he can call me, and I went, well, for what? And then we called, we had a nice call, and he said, hey, well, do you want to come to Hapag-Lloyd? And I said, well, yes, that's could be.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah,
Exactly.
why not? Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Like how did you find to social media? I mean, you're much younger, so I expect you kind of grew up with it, and not from the get-go, but you kind of grew into it.
I'm 28.
Yeah.
So I remember like growing up with internet, but it wasn't like how it is nowadays. I sometimes feel old for some of like TikTok trends and things like that. But I started my YouTube channel in 2014. I graduated in advertising in Brazil. And during the course, the professors always encourage us to have our space on internet. So it started back then, was like 2011, 2012, a website, a page, like to post about what I wanted, and also I invited like 3 other friends. So each day we had like something up, talking about celebrities or beauty or travel tips, you know, like anything that
like
can
a blog,
stir 'em up.
basically.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And then they just at certain point they decided to not post it anymore. They were like, no, Michelle, I think I have other priorities right now. And then I kept the blog for myself, and then I started to post like not so often because I was preparing myself to do an exchange program, like my first exchanging program, studying abroad and being an au pair in USA.
Oh.
That was in 2014. And then when I moved to there, the people that were following me on this blog saw me traveling, because I stopped to post it because my life was kind of busy, that the blog was just a hobby. And then they were like, what are you doing in New York? What are you doing in Denver? Like, what's going on, girl? And then I decided to do a video to explain them what I was doing there. And it just became something much more bigger than I expected, because people were like, that's so interesting. I really want to know more about it. And I started to make those videos to explain to other women in Brazil that wants to be an au pair also, how the exchange program works, what was the rules, how they can, you know, do the same. And then it just happened. Like, I got a lot of views on the videos, and I think the timing was the perfect timing, because at that time nobody was talking about au pair on YouTube. There wasn't like much content about, so everybody in Brazil that searches about au pair is still now, like, they can find my videos. Don't do that, because those videos are like super bad. I was very timid and like very shy, but yeah, it's like I don't know, 7 years ago, and I just realized that could be like a job for myself, when the owner of the agency that I was like going through, like the agency that I hired to make my exchange program, he called me one day and he was like, so you're Michelle? And I was like, yes. You were posting videos about my agency and you were talking about us. And I was like, oh my God, sorry. And he was like, no, that's awesome, because like everybody wants to make the same thing. And then I started to get commissions from that. And I was like, I can make money from this thing. And then that's how it started.
Yeah.
So that was kind of organic, natural thing, but it really like changed my life, and I've been working full time since that. Yeah.
So I like that your like career in social media has a not only entertainment component, but a highly educative component.
Yeah.
Right? You were like, the people longed for education about the program, and that's really a nice way to set up your channel, right? You have a great reason to make the videos. You don't have to think about, I don't know, what others do, like pranks or stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
as I said, like I'm not funny at all, and I don't really feel like just comfortable like with the TikTok trends. But I know this is like a niche, and I know this is something that it can really work. But like for me, it's totally educational. Until now, like I've been talking about my experience being a student in Berlin, and like it has a lot of good information that anyone that wants to do the same can just watch the videos and understand how it does, you know.
So it's your purpose to have a purpose actually, not just being online and being funny to reach a lot of people. It's just really you think about really I have a message.
How it can help someone.
And this is really great because I think nowadays a lot of influencers are really just using the channels to get many impressions, much reach, and I think just to, as you said, to do funny stuff and that means nothing to anybody, but just to the algorithm of the channels. And I really like your idea too. Well, I want something to say. That's really great.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
That's also a great reason for being a brand. Basically, you are a brand, and exactly what you said. At least I often have the impression that a lot of influencers are just there to create a platform to present products, like beauty products or whatever, fitness products, and there is no real reason, like no real purpose. Purpose being a word that companies and corporations really like. And if you lack purpose, you're super exchangeable, right? And your career won't last long. So, and you do have a purpose, which is quite nice.
At the same time, I feel that it's much more harder to grow as educational channel, because you know, like what it's like viral is the entertainment and like dancing stuff, but at the same time I prefer like this because I know like most of my audience have been following me for the past 7 years, 6 years. They like still now they're like, oh, I remember when you used to live in USA and now you're living in Berlin. That's so nice to see you growing, you know, and they grow with me. So like that's the best part.
Yeah, and that's something you said that I really like, that your followers are following because of brains, right, and not because of looks.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other influencers, they just get their followers by looks, which is superficial. That's the purpose, basically, again.
Yeah.
And it's harder to grow, like you said, because, well, people are easier to be visually impressed than
exactly.
the other thing is something more heavy. And that's really great.
Yeah, but I think you have the healthier community then. When they grow up with you, they know you and they're not following you because you do funny stuff, because there are a lot of influencers that have millions of reach, but and not so much interactions when they don't do that funny stuff. So when they come with a real important topic, they don't get interacted because their followers don't like what they say. They just want to see funny stuff. And I think at some point every influencer come to a point where he wants us to tell something more important, something more deep, and then he or she will realize that's not what their follower wants.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you also speak from a perspective as a corporation, right? With a purpose.
Yes, of course. So 2 years ago when I started working with Hamburg Lloyd has a very special target group or audience, let's say, on social media, because normally, you know, for example, Instagram, you think it's more female than male follower normally. At Hamburg Lloyd, we have 70% male follower.
Oh, wow.
So this is the first thing, and then the second thing is we are a global company, so we have followers from all over the world, and we are on nearly every important platform on social media. And the last month or years, I found out that, of course, every platform means something different in each country. So, for example, in South America, Instagram is more important, for example, than Facebook. When we look at Asia or at Thailand, I just realized I got an ask from a colleague. They want to do something on Facebook, and I went, well, Facebook, okay. And of course,
Is it still a thing?
Is it still a thing?
And of course, we are B2B, so we are not talking about fancy stuff. We are talking about vessels. We're talking about containers and ships on oceans, at ports. But this is actually what our follower wants to see. They interact quite a lot when we just show beautiful pictures of sundowns in the vessel, in the sea, and they really like that. But as I came to the agency 2 years ago, it was just, okay, we put a nice picture and say, hey, what a great picture. And I said, well, that's not that purpose, actually. So we started to have, of course, things our people wanted to see, nice pictures, but also combine it with some informations, actually. So when we show vessels, we talk about, hey, this is our vessel X Epsilon. She has so many TEU and she does this and this services all over the world, and then a little call to action afterwards, so they can learn from our beautiful pictures right now. And this is what the people also like, and we started to show more of our people, because Hapag-Lloyd isn't just doing some vessel sailing with containers. We have a lot of other jobs within the company that most of the people don't know about. So we just started interviewing our colleagues. For example, we have a huge IT team. We have an independent IT department developing everything for ourselves. Nearly nobody knows it, but we have it. And we also have a huge customer service where we need a lot of people. And if the people don't know it, why should they
apply for jobs, for instance?
Exactly.
Yeah. I really like the idea that you give your employees a platform to be shown. And from my perspective, this is also some kind of respect to these employees. They feel seen. And what you pointed out is something that is really important to understand your followership, basically your audience, which is the same thing for you, right? If you post something that's absolutely like non-typical, then they don't interact with that. And like you said, the insights, 70% of your followers are male. You can assume certain things. They might be into, that's very stereotypical, but they might be into like technical data, right? So, and you also have to think, why are people on these platforms? And even B2B, you're at the end, it's B2C. You're talking to people, right? Yeah. It is business to business, but the people signing the contract are people.
Yes, it's actually people-to-people marketing already. Yeah. It is actually. So this is also my last agency developed. The idea we don't care if it's people, it's business talking to customer or business talking to business. It's all people in the end, and this is what you should keep in mind when you talk or when you produce your contents on social media as well. So it's also learning. Of course, we have a digital marketing team as well, and we try a lot to change the way we communicate in this way, because it's really digital marketing. We talk about digital products, and this is also, it's always the post that works the less, because it's hard to combine our idea of selling to our great pictures. So we still have to find a better way to do a kind of storytelling to come within our digital product as well.
I think this is one of the most challenging things for like brand profile, because some brands I see just using their social media as a showcase, like just, this is my product, buy it, and it's on sale, or like just informing. And what makes people, real people, to follow a brand, to follow a company, if it's more like, I assume that it's a fan, it's like basically a fan base of that company that are following you on social media, because social media is super like personal, it can be very personal. So like it's a place where you want to see pictures of your friends and parties, but also they follow the company. So like you need this balance to like create content and interesting, like bring interesting topics that will keep that audience following you as a company, like, and not just showcasing products.
Yeah, you're totally right, and it's you're totally right. And I can add, you're talking about social media, and what is social in social media is to interact with the people. Some brands, just as you said, pull out some messages and don't react to anything.
adver media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just pushing
Yeah.
out and just don't care if reacted, what reacted,
Yeah.
and how reacted.
Yeah.
And
Disable comments.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, at least
Ignore the comments, the DMs. Like,
exactly. Yeah, it was also some of our biggest competitors who, at the time we started, didn't react to any comments. And I would
Yeah.
say, my opinion, or the opinion of my agency, was we have to interact with everybody who's asking. Of course, we get a lot of complaints asking, where's my container? My vessel is too late. But then we have some answers and can send them to the right person to react on him.
Yeah.
And this is very important for us. And this is also the way why we are, without spending media, have good organic results, because we really interact with our people on all channels. And we getting a very, as you said, a lot of complaints also about customer service, but we know the right people and then collect all the data and send them to our customer service centers, and then they can really react on, and then they're really thankful because they get help from us.
Yeah, and by answering them, they feel heard. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
exactly. And that's also a main problem. I see that brands have to be flexible, right? If you get a request on social media, you should be flexible enough to kind of redirect it, react to it, and because often you get, of course, reactions that are negative, like people who have strong negative thoughts about something. They will voice them.
Yeah.
Like, no one will not no one, but only few people will say, hey, I just bought your product and it's fine.
Yeah.
That's rarely gonna happen.
Sometimes happens.
Yeah, but rarely, right?
Yeah,
In
it's
comparison,
most complaints, of course.
like the customer who's satisfied is silent.
Yeah.
They don't say anything.
Yeah.
And this is something, where a lot of brands really struggle and fail even to react to that. One thought I had was, like, from your perspective, you already kind of scratched on that. What is the main issue that brands have in social media? Like, what is, from your perspective, the main thing that's people missing out? You said, okay, they're not like engaging with the audience, but I think a lot of brands, they say, hey, well, let's buy this influencer, and then everything's fine.
Some brands think that we are magicians, so like we're gonna do something like, oh, you're gonna gain 10,000 followers in 1 week, but this is not how happens. I think one of the biggest problem, especially like hiring an influencer or like trying to work with an influencer as brand, is like not knowing that influencer and their audience. For example, I'm vegan, and I receive a lot of like emails and trying to like companies trying to reach me out, but like McDonald's, like things that sells meat, or like products that I don't consume, and there's no point. They are wasting their time, they're wasting my time, and I think the main thing is like you getting to know the influencer, their engagement rate, especially like there's platforms where you can see, because as we were saying, like I didn't have anything like viral, like there's no content that went like millions and millions views in like 1 week, so everything's like very hard to grow, but at the same time the engagement rate is big because I keep those follows for a long time. But numbers are not like the main thing. So sometimes the brands just look to the numbers, but don't see like the engagement rate or what kind of audience that influencer had. And I think these are things that could be improved. Yeah.
Like, indeed, and from my perspective, from my past, companies often approach influencers and don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Like, they say, okay, we have this idea, do it like that. And they often don't kind of involve influencers and involve their creative potential, so they lose on that. And they might even create a campaign that is absolutely untypical for this influencer, and
Yeah.
oh yeah, big nods there. And they will lose on that, right?
Yeah, one thing is like having a briefing where you can like see what is the main purpose of the campaign and like do and don'ts, like this is totally fine. But then it's nice when the company give you like certain of like space to create also, because you know you as an influencer know your audience, you know what is going to be good for them, what's going to happen and what's going to not. So like sometimes the company just like, no, you have to say like this and this and that, and at this time of the day, and then even if I say no, this time is not a good time because like people are not online at that time. No, I don't care, you know.
Yeah.
So like it's nice when the company hear you as well, like, oh no, okay, this is the briefing, but do like just be creative and do it your own way, you know.
Yeah, that's.
It's so much easier to work with companies like this. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's beneficial for both sides.
Yeah, definitely, because you as a company will really see more results than if you just like say no, yeah, you have to do like this, you know. Because then if you hire like 10 influencers and they all do the same thing, and then like sometimes
what's the point?
It's about the same segment,
Yeah.
so like the audience is pretty much the same. So you as someone that follow all those people will see a lot of the same things on your feed, and that will be like, oh, you know.
Yeah, and if you didn't like it the first time, you won't like it the 10th time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you were nodding as well, like, had this experience like at the agencies or?
Yes, in my agency time, of course, there were clients who were quite strict to the idea what they want the influencers to say and how they should react and what should be the final picture or the final product out of it. And I also, as an agency, guys, nodded my head and said, well, we could do that, but that's not good. And I always like the influencers to give in their point of view, their style in the story. Of course, there is some facts, some do's and don'ts. Normally, what brands want or will or won't do. But sometimes I really got some really bad results also from influencers who misguided somewhere, and
Definitely.
and I said, well, that wasn't good either. So, as an agency, we often had to find a balance between telling storytellers what we want or what the brand, what our clients want, and leave them the space to live their creativity somewhere. Sometimes it works better, sometimes not. Yeah.
Do you have any story of like a really huge fail?
Yeah, that
Maybe, I don't know.
spicy,
It's
spicy
nice to
stories.
see the other side as well.
Yeah, of course.
I was thinking maybe it's
You
kind
don't have to drop names.
Yeah,
No,
of
no, no.
course. Yeah, it was storyteller. No. It's a typical fail of just putting the product direct in the camera and just well, I like this, and you can totally see, well, you don't even tried what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, indeed. And are influencers a thing in B2B marketing?
Of course they are. Not that much external influencers, but we mostly have them internally. So we make our employees to corporate influencers. At Hapag-Lloyd we have two different approaches on that. The first one is what we call storyteller. So we, in the past, for few years, we made the employees come up and give us some ideas what they want to do, and we selected about 16 from all over the world, from all our regions, put them together to Hamburg to have a weekend workshop and explaining to them how they could use social media, especially Instagram, of course, and teach them how to interact with the brand channel. And then we also let them take over the channels for a few times. So we had nice stories from all over the world. Due to Corona, it's cut a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But my idea in the second half of the year, I want to re-establish such campaign and asking new employees to come up and just be the new storyteller. And from a digital marketing, we have a second approach. They are called the Digital 100. These are also people from all over the world with the idea to bring more digitalization into Hapag-Lloyd and of course more marketing, but it's nearly the same. The people are at every region at Hapag-Lloyd and should talk about the digitalization of Hapag-Lloyd, digital products, and just from our marketing team gives ideas, of course give them back, and they are also sharing their stuff on Instagram and LinkedIn, and we have a lot of people talking about LinkedIn, and as a corporate channel, as long as we are tech, we are willing to share so many stories from all over the world. It's very nice, and we see Pakistan is doing that, Brazil is doing that, Chile has produced a video without asking me, but it's also nice, kind of. And
but I mean, this shows some kind of engagement, right? That they want to do it. And did you receive any feedback from the employees that took over the channel? How did they feel? I mean, if I imagine I should take over a channel of Hapag-Lloyd, I don't know, my heartbeat will be like 200.
Yeah, of course they are proud of it. They're proud that they can present what they are doing, because, as I said, we're not only transporting containers all over the world. We are just having so much other things. But it's also, of course, it's nice stories from people on board, from crew members showing what they are doing day-to-day work in the machine room, and it's also interesting to see for all the people. Oh yeah, that's also jobs at Hapag-Lloyd we could apply to. This really works quite well. I really want to do that more in the future. Right now, we have many captains and crew members who tag us on Instagram, and we ask them, please, can we use your pictures, because user-generated content is the best, and they are really proud of. And this is why when you look at our feed, we have a lot of pictures just shot by people from all over the world, sending them to us, or we ask them to send them to us to use them, and this is really a good way to appreciate, or to give the employees a good feeling, and
and also the audience, like, put faces in the brand.
Exactly.
It makes more personal.
And you dropped the word appreciation. I mean, if my company asks me if they can share the image I took, this shows appreciation. Like, even if I'm just only a crew member below deck that no one sees, all of a sudden people see me or see my work, and this is, I mean, oftentimes you chose the job because you like to do it, you're proud of it, and then you can really show it, and this is quite nice.
Yeah, and as you do, well, I try to give it more educational stuff. So now we start explaining what a crew member needs on board, or when you see the safe rings, what does all the symbols mean actually? What's on it? And I want to have more insight into the maritime life, not just talking about Hapag-Lloyd, but also the surrounding, what is happening in the world and at sea, so that we learn more about it, not just seeing great vessels.
Yeah, that's also a nice touch to it, right? To learn more about it, to open your mind, basically.
Yeah.
Education. Yeah, that's good. Just before this round, we've been talking about how you like changed a bit of your way of producing things, right? You told me you just employed an editor, which was a big step.
Yes,
and you kind of outsourced parts of it. What did it change for you? So.
Well, as I was telling you, I realized that I could transform my channel and social medias in my job when I started to get a little bit of money from it. But at that time, I did everything by myself. So, like, the script, I was the camera girl, and, like, the editor, the person who were, like, presenting the video, and I was selling myself to the companies, because then I started to think to my course, I started to think, okay, so I can approach the companies that, because like in the beginning, it's very hard to, the companies reach you out and like, Michelle, we want to work with you. So I was like, well, the no I already have, you know, so I will try anyway. And then I started to make like my media kit is like a PDF, like a very important document for every influencer to show your data, the numbers, the audience rate, all the content that you already create. So I did like everything, and then I started to try to sell myself to the company. So at that time, I used to do everything. It was like very hard.
Like a 24-hour job, right?
Yeah,
almost.
Basically 24/7.
Yeah.
Especially when you want something to really goes well.
Yeah.
And I put like a lot of effort on that.
And social media, they don't have opening hours, right?
No. Sometimes it's so hard to get like a weekend off. You know, it's just very hard. But now my audience understand this much better.
It's grown up a little as well.
Yeah. And then, but like 2 years later, or 3 years later, that I was working for myself and by myself, I started to realize that I had to delegate some of my tasks, because I was getting more and more jobs and partnerships and content to create, and didn't have much time to edit the videos, for example, something that can take like 8 hours a day, you know. So I hired this girl, Nach. She's like the best person in the world. And like she's been working with me for the past 3 years, and it was like a big step in my job, and also in my company, because I have to create a company, like a proper company, and you know, pay the taxes.
It's serious all of a sudden, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have, in Brazil, they don't have yet like influencer title, so I had to choose like advertising something, you know. But soon, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, and then after that, I also hired someone to help me with like the commercial business part. And this really changed everything. Now I have also a designer to help me with the Instagram posts, because for me it's very easy to have the ideas, but it's hard to put on paper, you know, like it's hard to, like I don't know everything about Photoshop, and like, you know, I know that there's some people that knows better and can do better than myself, so
And
why
faster,
not?
for example.
Faster, so much faster. So it's just like, for me, it's so much easier to like just write an email with all the ideas that I had, and then like 2 weeks later receive all the posts and like, oh gosh, it's already, I'm so excited. So yes, definitely it helps me a lot. Yeah.
Nice. And what did it do to your creativity? Like, I mean, you have to be creative to come up with everything, right?
And I learned that we need like time. We need time doing nothing to be creative. You know, like I try to not follow many people of the same segment as me, because I used to see the feed and it was like all about trips and exchange programs, because of course there's other influencers that talks about the same topic, and I was like, this people already, like this person already did this, so there's no point for me to do it. But you know, the audience can be different, and also I found out that by doing this, like following so many people and looking at their work at all the time, also can be nice, because it's nice to see like your competitors. As a company, you can also say that. But like, I started to follow different segments. So for example, like I love watercolor, museums, art in general. So like I started to get inspired by other things, and this really helped my creativity, because I feel that by looking to other stuff, I don't push myself or not compare myself to others. So it's easier to be more creative and do something that just came out from my mind.
Yeah.
So, and also like by doing nothing, like taking a day off to just relax, and like these are all the moments that I get the best ideas. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, time off is really important as a creative.
Yeah.
And like you said, to not only be in your own space, but to get like inspiration from all over the place. Otherwise, you would just repeat what everyone else has done,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And like outsourcing might be even a big thing with corporations, right? Outsourcing things. Is it easy to convince in a company that you have to hire an agency, for instance, or are they like, oh, we can do it on our own?
Well, it depends on the company somehow, of course. We have quite a small communication team, so we also work with quite a lot of external agencies and people who help us just creating stuff because we have not the manpower to do it. So I have a social media agency, and right now I work with 3 different video agencies at the moment. The social media agency is actually the agency I worked 2 years ago, so they know me quite well. I know what I like, and they know what I look for, and
The expectations,
my
basically,
expectation.
yeah.
They know exactly how I work and how I want jobs to get done, actually. And but we do the same as you. I not only look at my own competitors, but also like scrolling around at Instagram and looking at what others doing, and just think, hey, wait, how we can adjust this to our communication, work of style, and this is what I also ask my agencies for. I don't want to have it every month the same, but look for other ways to drive another communication, look up what others doing, how we can adjust it to our topics, because I find you can nearly have every format somehow adjusted that it fits also in our communication. It just you have to find the right way to do it actually.
Think outside the box.
Exactly, yes.
And I think if you are really clear about your purpose, then it's very easy to adapt things, right? And also easy to say, okay, this absolutely does not fit.
Yes.
And that's also the same, I think, for channels, right? It's really hard often for people to understand which channel to use for which content or for which purpose. And a lot of companies like sadly fail at this. Like in my career, I often had companies that like, okay, we take the same thing for like every channel, and eyes are rolling. So what are your experiences, because you were rolling your eyes?
Yeah, because before I was an influencer, I worked in an agency as well, and I remember like at that time it was something normal to do it. Like, oh, if you have this post, just adapt like the format to a Facebook post and to an Instagram post, and basically, and then Twitter, and then do a tweet about it. But it was like the same thing. So I don't think that it's like valuable, because I see in my audience, like not everybody that follows me on YouTube follows me on Instagram. And I used to do it like, I would try to post the same thing because it's easier, but then I realized that if there's people that follow me on both, how boring it is to see the same thing on in the both platforms.
They might even unfollow.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, why should I follow her on different social medias if she posts the same thing? I will follow her just in one, and that's going to be fine. So yeah, I try to not just like adapt, but like in a way that I will use Reels right now to show a little like this part of my trip, but then I will like show something exclusively on YouTube, and also I maybe take some of the audience that is already on Instagram to follow me also on YouTube, because there's like one more tip that they didn't see on that. So, and vice versa, I try to do this.
That's a great concept, because like often companies refer to, okay, let's just post something on Instagram that refers to YouTube, like visit our YouTube channel for.
Yeah, no,
and
but
that's
like you need to instigate the person to like, why should I go to the YouTube? So you give a little bit of like content, you give something exclusive, something that they will like, something is like Instagram format, and then invite them to like go to a different app, because like everything now you can see and just watch on the same app. Instagram is basically like a little bit of TikTok, a little bit of YouTube, a little bit of everything. So like a lot of people just get lazy to go to a different app, but you need to really give them a reason to do
Yeah.
it. So.
Yeah, especially with TikTok. I mean, you see many Instagram stories that even have the TikTok a watermark on them,
Yeah.
so that people are very
That
lazy.
is so lazy. When
Yeah.
I see it, I'm like, you didn't even take the TikTok logo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not pre-produced.
But I think Instagram will change that. There's some ideas that Instagram will change the way of producing videos on the platform and will downgrade videos that came from other platforms.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Ooh.
definitely.
What do you know about that?
It will be changed in the algorithm, or also in the way reels can be produced with some templates. Actually, this is how Instagram wants the people to really create the videos on the platform, not just using external videos. And the algorithms somehow then downgrade videos that are now created exclusively on the platform, and will them.
That's quite a clever move,
Yeah,
of course.
it will be, yeah.
You can find all the information in the EXIF data of a file. But on the other hand, when I think about it, would be if you like positively discriminate videos that are created on the platform, it will get harder for companies if you kind of pre-produce something on a video shoot. You will get downgraded. That's
And then Instagram is forces to use advertising budget to get some reach.
Yes, that's the thing.
okay. There was a thing, yeah, right. Advertising budget. Yeah, but okay,
You
interesting.
can
Like
just
the
try to use like 1, 2 when
Yeah.
you upload the video that it's already done. Just try to use one of those.
Yeah,
tools
one
and-
one it's additional effect on it, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's
Give
completely
it-
different.
yeah.
Yeah, you need to find creative ways to
Yes.
overcome these things. Yeah, but also quite interesting to see the competition in these platforms, how they evolve with this, right? If you look at Instagram, it started off as just an image posting platform. Then they added stories and reels, right?
Stories from the
Snapchat?
Snapchat, yeah.
Yeah, and then reels that came somehow from TikTok, and then also like I don't know how it's here, but in Brazil they also add like kind of album part where you can create posts. It was pretty similar to Pinterest, but it didn't work out. Like
Yeah.
You mean
much.
collections, right?
Yeah.
Collections, yeah, or something like that.
Collections.
And then you could put like a bunch of posts together and then write about them.
Yeah, it's
and,
almost
you
like a
know.
blog again, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
bit different. That's I've seen it. I've seen it on your Instagram as well, right? About some cities, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a nice feature, but underrated. And I think it's outdated in a way because people are so used to like consume very, very fast.
Yes.
If you look at especially TikTok videos, how fast they are, that's for older people quite hard to like grasp what it is, right? It's also something that is really interesting to see how information gets like squished more and more and more, how much information gets like put into one single 15-second clip.
And talking about this, like I was looking to like the analytics part of my YouTube, and like 50 and something % of people that watch my videos watch on like 2+ mode, you know, like faster.
Ah,
Oh wow.
Like so, a 10-minute video it turns into a 5-minute
Minute
video.
video.
And probably my voice is like, you know,
Like Mickey Mouse, yeah.
I don't know how they can watch something like that, but it's just like, oh, I want the information, you know, like sometimes they
That's
don't
crazy.
even watch the video, they just like listen
Listen,
to
it's
them.
more like a podcast almost, right?
Yeah,
And that's a great insight because then you know you have to put more effort into your voiceovers or what you speak.
like the audio has to be perfect because, you know, most of people, especially on the educational videos, that it's more of me like just talking and explaining. Sometimes you don't really need to watch, you just can listen, but like it's different when it's a vlog, a trip for like a video for a day in Hamburg, for example. You know, like you really want to see things.
Yeah, of course.
It's two different kind of contents.
Yeah,
and then it makes me an insight to maybe create my own podcasts. But then I start to think of, like, I don't have much time, but I will try.
So you need to, like we've been talking about this, you need to employ your next video guy, audio guy.
Yeah.
And so you're growing as a brand, basically. So that's, and do you perceive yourself as a brand? Do you think about yourself as a brand?
Oh yeah, like goals, medium-term goals, future goals. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's very serious stuff, right? Yeah.
And also because it's so new, like nobody got really old as an influencer yet.
No.
You know,
No.
like there's no like 80-something influencer that have been working with this for like.
You don't have 20 years of experience.
No,
Yeah,
you know, like so. At the same time, like I try to create Plan B and Plan C. For example, now I'm creating my online course. You know, like one more kind of way to earn money from my work. So.
Yeah. And about like experience and changes. I mean, the whole landscape of social media is like permanently changing, and it is hard for an influencer. But I mean, as a corporation, how do you react to these things?
Because as you might know, corporations, companies sometimes are not that flexible as maybe an influencer could be. But we try to think about our strategy on social media each year. So at the beginning of the year, we try to think about what is the communication strategy, what is the channel strategy for our channels for the coming year. So, and yes, you say correctly, the channels are changing. It's not just the channels changing; it's also the usage, how the channels are used are changing. And then there's another point for us. It's also, as I said, different countries use different channels in a different way. So there's some kind of a lot of things to think about, and we right now don't have the perfect solution for that. We are working on that to think about which are our focus countries, which are our focus information we want to share, and which are our focus formats, how we information want to share. And this, in my mind, it's a kind of metrics coming out when we say we want to talk about recruitment in IT for Poland, then we should use in LinkedIn. I don't know. There's so many facts or so many things we have to think about when we are thinking about social media and how the channels are working and how we are working with the channels actually. And are there maybe some new channels we should add or?
Yeah, what happens if like I mean the rise of TikTok was like super quick, right? And you need to react to that. I mean, I don't know if Hapag-Lloyd is on TikTok. I don't know.
Actually, I created a channel, but our legal team, because of data, didn't allow us to use as a channel.
Okay.
So this is why we used Reels, of course, and the Reels are working quite good for us.
Oh, cool.
Although it's still showing vessels, time lapse, or just drone videos around our vessels.
But they're beautiful.
But they're beautiful. They are 15 seconds long, and they really get very good reach. So it's
videos goes really well on Instagram.
So it changed a lot, right? If you think about, like I said, from posting images, and now people are almost exclusively watching reels or stories.
Yes.
That's insane.
This is why Instagram 2 years ago also said we are not a photo platform anymore. We are a video platform now. We are just like YouTube. So it's really the perspective.
And now even YouTube adapted the YouTube short format. Are you using that?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, because it's hard for me to I don't want to post the same thing that I post on Reels on YouTube.
Well, what you just said,
So it's like it's just hard to create so many content, but like I'm trying to, organize myself to make it some more because it really
Are you planning Oliver? Like you said, I mean, at the beginning of the year is quite large, but do you have like a content plan?
Trimester, basically, because I also try to The good part is like I can ask my audience what they want to see, so I get a lot of ideas for my content from their like the questions that they make to me, like, Michelle, how works this, and how I can study there, and you know, like, so I get a lot of ideas from them. So that's the good part. But also, like, I try to see on like Google Trends or things like that. How, like, what is the destiny, like travel destiny that will be kind of on a spotlight next year. So I try to go there because, you know, people will try to search about it, and my videos will be there. So
that's nice. And that's more than most people think what it means to be an influencer, right?
Oh yeah.
There's not just traveling around making nice pictures.
Yes.
Actually, we have I didn't see them. They didn't refresh. A couple of questions from the chat actually. Let's see. For both, what do you think? Which kind of industry lacks influencers with good and useful content, like health, agriculture? From your perspective, just roughly, like, where do you think there is a potential where people could?
I think health got really better during the pandemic, especially. Like, I see a lot of like
became
health
interesting,
company,
right?
Yeah, you know, take advantage during this time. So I think it got like kind of better, but it was like I think there was a lack on this segment before. Agriculture, I don't know how to hire an influencer to talk about it. It's just hard.
This might be the same challenge with Hapag-Lloyd. I mean, at first, if you think, okay, that's containers and vessels, how should you use influencers? But I think if you kind of...
No, there's always an audience to follow that person.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet it is,
Yeah, this is an apple, this is how I grow apples.
Basically, companies just have to be bold enough to say, okay, we bring our employees forward to create content.
But I think also healthcare is a hard topic to have influencers. I worked for a big health company in Germany as an agency, and we actually, because it's in Germany, it's not allowed to talk about how medicals are really working. It's just as a marketing point of view, you could say it helps. This is for example, I worked for a part about skin, unhealthy skin, and you just can talk about, well, how to take care of your skin. You can't say, please use our medical.
And now you cannot use the before and after pictures anymore also. Like, there's a lot of rules in this.
Exactly, so it's
super
just
regulated.
Talking about really, this is how you keep your skin moisturized and etc. But we also found some actual influencers, some former sportsmen who has the sickness we are talking about, and he was standing here. This is what I eat to feel better with this complicated skin, for example. And this is, you can find it. It also depends on what kind of medical disease do you want to talk about.
I mean, that's a huge difference. I think the US is the only country in the world where you can actively like promote medicals, like ask your doctor for X, Y, Z. That's, I think, the only country in the world. But it's also a challenge because of this. A lot of people don't know much about medicals.
Yeah, this is in Germany. We just put the logo of the company on everything, so that at least when the people are at the doctor, say, well, do you have some medicals from this brand, for example? So this is the only way in Germany we can talk about really speaking about sickness, and the main goal in this area is to lead the people to the doctors. Maybe they can download a checklist where we have the branding on it. So they come to the doctors with the branded checklist, and then, well, this is what the checklist says. Oh, maybe you can prescribe me some of that medicals.
But it's also like a gray zone.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I mean, the whole page is just talking about this is the source why you could be sick. If you think you're sick, maybe you download our checklist and bring it back to the doctors. Maybe he can help you
sneaky
easily. Yes.
Oliver, there's a question. What do you expect from a social media specialist? Like if you need to hire one.
Mhm. In my opinion, he should totally be aware of what channels are existing, what to do on the channels, and to have an opinion about for different brands, how should brands be active, or what are the channels most important, also not only for Germany, but when we talk about international brands, as I told you, also thinking about what does a channel mean or a platform mean in other countries. Just for example, WeChat in China is only in China a big thing, but my Chinese colleagues using WeChat, and it's all in Chinese, and I can normally not understand if I don't let my handy, my smartphone translate all the Chinese stuff. So it's just be aware what is social media meaning, what is the power of social media actually, who can you reach, what is the power, what do we want to say, what is the strategic. Also saying when your boss says, hey, let's go on TikTok. First ask, why? What's our story on TikTok? What do we want to tell on TikTok? Not just to be there on TikTok, because we have all limited time in working, and it's not just a new platform coming up. Of course, it's nice to be the first one, but it's also be nice to have a little thought about, well, what is our strategy on this channel as well? Not just to be there because everybody's there, but also have something in mind with doing it.
Yeah, I had this like, why do you have to be on a channel a lot on Facebook? I thought, okay, you're a company that is solely B2B. LinkedIn might be a better place for you than Facebook. Just being there for the sake of it, it's not really necessary.
Yeah, but then you have to think about which country are you active.
Exactly, yeah.
Because some countries don't have access or had limited access to LinkedIn. Then it could be a better idea also when you're B2B or just a company to be on Facebook, because Facebook is the only platform reachable for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you also have to be flexible and internationally thinking. Okay, someone is really interested in becoming a fashion influencer. Ooh, yeah, someone from Paris. And she's asking how to become one. And there are many fashion industries in Paris, of course, and she basically wants a guide, but what do you think? How should she approach becoming an influencer?
I think she's like in a very good place to start this, because like Paris is such a nice city just on its own, you know, so like you can create very good content just by being there. It's different than like post a picture of your outfit at home, you know, like you're in Paris, girl, so take advantage of it. But also I would say that you have to post, like if you start to doing something, you have to do it like for real. So like if you manage your schedule, your weekly schedule to post, I don't know, like 2 pictures and 1 reels per week, do it, you know, just don't like post one time and then forget your profile for like a month and then try to post something again.
Consistency, right?
Consistency is the key. Like you really, and also the platform needs this. The platform needs to understand that you were like using and you're like being like a proper user at that platform. So also Instagram or YouTube will start to show your content to like on a discover page or like to different person that don't follow you yet. Also, your family and your friends will be your first fans. So ask them to engage on your posts, like everything, comment, share with everybody, because this is how I started, you know, like I asked my family, my friends to give me feedbacks and also be like open to receive those feedbacks, because you don't start anything by knowing everything. Even now, like I don't know everything, and I'm trying to always improve my work, and so like accept and be open to accept those feedbacks. It's also very important.
Which can be hurtful sometimes, right?
Yeah, it can be, but you know, it's how we grow, you know. So yeah, consistency, and also like try to do something that I know it's hard to say that, but like that nobody else is doing. I try to find a niche because like fashion, it's very like it's very big, but like fashion in Paris or like thrift shopping in Paris, you know, like a specific niche, it will be very nice because then it will stand yourself out from different profiles, and the other profiles are also talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Would you say that fashion is some kind of superficial and
Not at all.
Oh, not at all?
No, I think like for example, being in Paris, she can also like talk about a little bit of story of fashion, like French fashion, or like I don't know. It can be very educational as well. I think you can create content and teach something to like how to use a type of clothes or something like that. It can also be something like that the audience will learn something from, you know.
Yeah, that's really, I would say that would be great. Not just showing great clothes into the camera, but also have a story behind it. Just is it, I don't know, sustainable something, or just like that. Not just showing, hey, beautiful dress in Paris, have fun. So that's maybe not the best way to start or to be an influencer nowadays.
Yeah, or even like giving tips of like how much it costs, where's the best shops, and you know, can do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
And it comes back to the P word we used at the beginning, like the purpose again.
Exactly.
You need a purpose first, because fashion is kind of, it is on one hand superficial on Instagram at first, or a lot of fashion channels are superficial, and it is something very visual. So you also, I think you need to have like a thick skin because of backlash on social media, I guess. And if you have a purpose, and a purpose that really is believable as well, you do stand a chance to grow as a channel.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite, like especially in like beauty, fashion, fitness, it's quite hard to grow today or to become relevant, because there's so many big influencers that kind of overshadow everything else.
But this is maybe also the possibility to grow up a community that is really fitting to you, and not just having millions of followers. Some are just because you do funny videos, the other ones just there because you're in a gym and pumping up. So
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where you have to research basically. What can my audience be? Like, do like your basic research stuff. Otherwise, it will be just like a shot in the wind, and you don't.
And also, it's important to say that it takes time. It's not something that will happen overnight, you know. And you have to be there, trying, you know.
It's hard work actually. It's not just starting and having millions of followers. And please don't buy followers anyhow.
No, don't do that.
We all know how it works, and companies know how to look behind the scenes.
Oh
there are many tools to check. Yeah, that's true. Are any questions from you guys? You're just silently listening. No, nothing. All right. I don't want to kind of ignore you if there are any. Yeah. There's one question that I kind of left to almost the end. To both of you, do you think that hype word, the metaverse, and NFTs are going to affect your work, and how probably?
Ooh.
Good question.
It's a hard question. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say because everything's so new. It's like social media is some time ago. Like nobody like really understood what it was. But I really believe this is kind of the future somehow. And not just like brands, but also influencers can take advantage of it. I follow some influencers from USA, for example, that talks a lot about NFTs, and they're creating their own NFTs, or like artists, influencers that talk about art, and their like artwork are like now selling NFTs as like, oh, you can have my piece of art, and
Yeah.
you know, for yourself. So yeah, people like are already having like earning a lot of money from it. So definitely,
Like a lot.
yes,
Like a lot.
Yes.
But they're also losing a lot.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
That's just like a couple of days ago, I think it was 34 million.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's kind of really, really bad.
The
There was
tweet NFT, is that the one?
yeah, was it? Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
the tweet.
the first
yeah.
tweet
Yeah,
NFT. Yeah, I
it
saw
lost
that.
like
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
and also like technical mistakes. There was another one like 2 days ago. There was like a mistake in the programming, and they lost also over $30 million
Oh, wow.
because of that. It is still there, but no one can kind of access it.
But like for example, Nike,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
company shoes, created like a sneaker with also like when you buy the sneaker, you also buy an exclusive NFT,
Yeah,
which is, you know, I think it's something that will happen. It's happening, but it's like it's very little
Yeah.
now, I think.
Yes, I also think NFT is a very interesting topic, and although blockchain is a really interesting topic, and it has already been part of our digital business actually. So some
I
of
can
our
imagine, yeah.
electronic bill of lading is based on blockchain technology. So
Yeah.
we're already using that kind of stuff. At Metaverse, I mean, that's Facebook, or now Meta's idea of still growing and still developing. And I think they did it in the past with the Oculus glasses and stuff. I think it could be interesting, but we have to see if it's really have impact on our business somehow and our whole way to communicate. But at least blockchain is a really strong technology, and it is already in our business.
implemented. Yeah, nice to know. And I can imagine, because it's transportation, and there's also a lot of sensitive information.
Exactly, yeah. Also, not that deep in the topic. I just know we have the electronic bill of lading, which is based on Bitcoin technology, or
Blockchain.
blockchain.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is quite good because of the really sensitive data we have there, and it's individual and it's direct there, and it's really quick, and this is what we need in our business.
Yeah, and secure.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the main topic. Yeah. From my point of view, the metaverse, I think that a lot of people kind of misinterpret it, what it is, and only address it as the VR, AR, augmented reality stuff. But it's already here in certain aspects. We do meet in games, virtually. We do meet in Teams, Skype, Zoom, wherever. So it is already part of our life. It just has been hyped by Facebook, Meta, and kind of transferred into this AR, VR technology. And I really love that they push it. So, because this technology hasn't like progressed much in the last 10 years. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think that there will be some social media platforms that kind of pop up with that. That might be super interesting, like interaction-wise.
Yes, of course, interaction live with different countries, different people at that virtual point. It could be a nice one for at least communication and working together, cooperating with people from all over the world, which could be then, of course, be interesting for us as well. Just have virtual rooms where we can all be together at the same time, working on virtual whiteboards or something like that.
Yeah.
Could be a nice one, yeah.
And that's a good point, because currently you still, I mean, there are tools where you can share your screen and work together, but it's different if you can like work on a table and kind of move things around, or if you have like a flat screen where things are moved around, right? This VR spatial beings, and so the space is something we need to conquer next. I think that this is a big leap, and also towards social media, it becomes more social, even like, and more inclusive. So great stuff happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any questions? it's not the time. No, everything's fine. All right, then I thank you for being here.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
For everyone out there, thanks for staying here. We will have our next Café Artistique maybe next month or the month after that, and it will be really, really interesting. It's going to be about games, and hope you tune in then as well. And stay safe and have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.